Good morning, Scott Cullen here, editor-in-chief of the Cannata Report, back for another edition of Fridays with Frank. Before I bring Frank out to talk more about our watch list issue, please like, subscribe, comment, and send Frank your questions. So Frank, as I always say, what's on your mind this morning, but I should be saying what's on our minds this morning.
Certainly an area that I think is most important for dealers is A4. There's no question that it continues to erode A3. So who are the companies that you have to watch in A4? Well, the interesting thing from a growth perspective, two of the companies that are growing the fastest within the dealer channel is Brother and Epson. Xerox is doing very well, but it's being driven by the high end of the product line, not the A4. So I don't, not that they won't sell some A4 product, but I think fundamentally, if we're going to talk about A4, you got to talk about Brother and Epson. And how do we come to the conclusion it's something to watch? I'll give you a simple example. 2 years ago, in our survey, Brother had 53 dealers that indicated that they took Brother or sold it in A4 in some position, first, second, third, or fourth. This year, it was 76. So when you get that kind of growth, you add that significant number of dealers, that's a trend. The same thing is happening with Epson. Now, Epson got caught in the pandemic. When the last meeting that we attended was for Epson in California in February when the pandemic hit. And the products that they were going to be introducing in 2021, they delayed until 2022. And really, they're just starting to get steamed up. I think their product line is rich. And the key with Epson is inkjet. And at the same time, Epson does a very good job in the area of wide format. And several of their dealers have taken on the product. And we estimate at this particular time, they have well over 130 dealers selling their product. And you stop and think, this is only about really a 2-year period, 2022, 2023, where they can build a distribution. They couldn't do that, couldn't do much during the pandemic. So they're coming on strong as well. But we think the fundamental leader, Kyocera, will continue to be number one as far as the number of dealers that have it. And candidly, I'm not sure where they're going product-wise. Will they be introducing inkjet into that A4 space? That's something to watch. Now, obviously, of all the manufacturers, Kyocera has more experience in producing inkjet heads than anyone, and they've been selling them to other companies for years. So it makes sense, although we have no information that indicates this. So please understand, this is our estimate of the situation. You will see inkjet A4 product from Kyocera at some point. I think those are the kind of highlights that people can look for in 2024, Scott.
Okay, well, I have a couple of my highlights myself that I want to add to the conversation this morning. And looking at some of the trends that we pointed out in the December-January issue, e-commerce was one of them. I think we had it the year before. It's one of those trends that's kind of just simmering still. It hasn't come to a boil. I know Keypoint Intelligence continues to promote their e-commerce solution. I think when you were at the Toshiba dealer meeting, there was talk of e-commerce there. But it's still a hard sell for dealers who love that consultative sale. And even though it doesn't really take away from it, because a lot of the products that are going to be sold via an e-commerce platform are not the ones that require that consultative sale, some dealers can get over that. I think it's going to take a little bit longer to catch on, but I think we're going to see a little traction this coming year on the e-commerce front. And realistically, I think deep down, most dealers realize that it's inevitable and they will have some sort of e-commerce component to their business. Another trend that I'm kind of excited to talk about, and I've never heard this word until I went to the ConnectWise IT Nation Connect conference back in November, and that's hyperautomation. And this was a centerpiece of ConnectWise CEO Jason McGee's presentation on the opening night of the event. And it's been showing up in a lot of the ConnectWise press releases regarding the products that and solutions they're releasing. I know other companies are doing hyperautomation, they're just not using the term. But I'm going to read what I wrote about hyperautomation. Hyperautomation describes an approach to automation that goes beyond traditional robotic process automation, RPA, by combining various technologies such as artificial intelligence, machine learning, process mining, analytics, and more to automate and optimize complex business processes end to end. So that's what hyperautomation is. Technology companies are using it. I think it's going to filter down into our industry. Hyperautomation, Frank, maybe instead of talking about diversification in a couple of years, we will be going around preaching hyperautomation here at the Cannata Report. Now, as far as companies to watch, I was going to mention Epson. You stole that one from me, but I didn't get to my company that I want to talk about besides Epson is Lexmark. Okay, I know they've been going through a lot of issues related to that company in China who will not be named right now, but they've got a big product coming out in 2024, and I think this is going to really shake things up. It's going to kind of reinvent Lexmark. I had to sign an NDA when I went to their dealer meeting last June, so I can't talk about it, but I'll bet this is probably one of the worst kept secrets in the office technology industry as far as what they're coming out with in 2024. And finally, last thing I want to talk about as far as our watch list, it's the Executive Connection Summit. CJ and I will be attending in a couple of weeks. And it was tremendous last year. It was tremendous a few years ago, the first time I attended. And I think it's going to be bigger and better than ever this year. I know they moved to a new, bigger venue, and I'm psyched. Can't wait to attend. So, Frank, I think that covers it for today. I know you're ready to go.
I think so, Scott. Did a great job as always, my friend. Great. I'm sure our readers are going to learn a hell of a lot when they pick up the watch list issue. Take care.